And while you're getting lost, that's your name.
Yeah, oh, we're gonna have to say that a million times in a million different videos.
When it comes to atmospheric games, most games fail to even come close to how much atmosphere resides within Yume Nikki. In truth, this game was without a doubt one of the most influential games ever made in RPG Maker, and for a lot of us, resonates fondly in our childhoods as a weird game we saw a number of YouTubers play. For myself specifically, it's definitely a true gem. So, tell me, Lost, how much do you know about Yume Nikki?
Yeah, I have to say I reacted a little bit to the thing you just said, because at the end, she kills herself.
Yes she does.
I mean, she's Lost. A child, right?
Well, we don't really know what her age is, actually. If you want to know more about her name's actually Madatsuki, and she is known as what they'd say in Japan as a hikikomori.
Oh, what's that?
It's basically a shut-in. To put it blunt, it's basically someone that rejects the outside world and society and prefers to stay inside.
All right, so she could be a loner, or she could be depressed. There's a whole bunch of things already that we can tell. Apparently, she must be shunned a little bit by the society because, or at least she doesn't want any part of it.
Yeah, it would definitely seem that way, and there are tons and tons of different theories that sort of come in, especially with the different characters. Lost, I'm actually glad that you know a little bit about this.
Well, I have seen part of your Let's Play of Yume Nikki. I didn't see everything, which I apologize for. That's why I got so surprised when I discovered that she kills herself.
Don't worry, I forgive you. We can totally tell everyone about actually my favorite playthrough of all time on YouTube. That's for real. That is my most favorite playthrough I ever did.
Link will be in the description down below.
Yume Nikki originally came out, believe it or not, in 2004. And that's actually why it's considered one of the most influential games ever made. And yes, I know, that ending where she does kill herself is so shocking, but the best stories all need to start at the beginning. And, like I said, with her being a hikikomori, the entire game basically takes place with her in her apartment, with her cool little rug and her little game, and she can walk outside, and that's it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I got kind of surprised, because what does Yume Nikki mean, then? I mean...
Yume Nikki means dream diary.
Okay, because I thought that was the name of the actual character until you actually said that was something different. I was like, but what the hell is the title of it?
Right, it makes a whole bunch more sense now, yeah?
Yeah, I really do like the pixelated art style, and that actually I feel like it gives us a lot of mystery to it. Especially in the dream world, but also just with the character herself. As you said, we don't actually know her age. We could perhaps refer to the game that must not be named, the sequel that we do not acknowledge, but she's not an old girl. No.
Regardless of her age, I'm really glad that the game doesn't just take place in her apartment, because like you said, with the pixelated art style, we enter her dreams, and then the game just explodes in creativity and just getting lost in general, actually, which is kind of the whole point of the game.
Yeah, because you walk around in these dreamscapes, and I remember from watching your Let's Play, the first thing you really want to do is to get the bike.
Oh yes, absolutely. Getting the bike is 100%. Of course, all of the effects are super good, but the bike mandatory, because those vast landscapes are very vast, and it will take you forever if you don't have that. Lost, would you mind telling me, do you remember your dreams? Like, what are your dreams like?
Oh, well, it's kind of weird, because I have two distinct types of dreams, and I can barely remember them when I when I wake up. The few that I have had recently have all been. My wife thinks it's nightmares because apparently I start shaking in bed like I'm like a dog kicking and hunting something. But it tends to be me in a bad situation trying to figure a way out of it. It doesn't necessarily need. One time I was chased by Jason Voorhees.
Oh my.
Yes, and the thing I did to avoid him was I took the plane to Australia, and I lived in this compound, and when I saw him approach, then I ran to the airport and took a plane back to Norway.
Genius.
So I knew I couldn't stop him, but it took him like I think in my head it said a year and a half to walk across the water.
Yeah.
Another dream I had recently, and this may be a little weird, but I was atop a very rickety tower on wheels driving down the freeway, but the freeway was also right next to a cliff, and there was a bunch of torches on top of it where I was standing, and I was wearing a Batman outfit. But it was the Batman outfit that my mom made me when I was about 9 years old. And the tower went it was like barreling downwards, and it was very rickety, and it swayed from side to side, and I was holding on for dear life. That's just two of the dreams that I remember having recently.
Honestly, Lost. From what you described, it sounds like your dreams are pretty stressful, and dreams in general, like, as ridiculous as they can be, seem to relate to what's going on in our lives, like what we went to bed thinking about. At least for me, I'll end up having dreams and then wake up and be like, oh, I can see how that kind of connected, because something happened that maybe I was thinking about but never really did because it was just a dream, you know?
Oh yeah, the Jason Voorhees stream, that one was actually very interesting because I was watching a Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th. Words are difficult, okay? I'm Norwegian.
No, they are.
Yes. But I was watching a movie, but I was also having like a this was in the I'm still working at my phone survey job, but I am becoming more and more of a streamer, and it was a period of transition, and it kind of the dream feels a little like, okay, running from Jason is like, okay, I have to go back and forth between my real job and my streaming job. If that makes any sense.
No, it kind of does, because obviously you're not being, at least I hope you're not being chased, IRL by Jason Voorhees.
I mean, it might be a little cool for a little moment, because then I know there's actually real-life zombies there, but at the same time, I don't want to die.
But these things definitely manifest in our dreams, and it's so cool. Which brings me to my next question, actually. Lost. Imagine that you had the ability to remember all of your dreams and actually experience them. I mean, like, be fully conscious and aware of what's going on. How would you feel about that?
Okay, so I'm gonna be very careful here to ensure that we don't get demonetized. Not that we are getting monetized currently, but there would probably be a bunch of fairly naked ladies in my dreams, if I could decide. That being said, I mean, it would be fascinating to explore the worlds that have been created. I remember, this is a dream that I had a long time ago, but I was standing on the porch of a house, and then a black fiery stallion ran past the house. And it was gorgeous, man. It was gorgeous. And then, all of a sudden, there was some rustling in the bushes, and then a pig walked out, but the pig had the face of my dad.
Oh my.
And the building that was standing in front was like this huge Victorian-looking thing, and I always wanted to go inside because there was always something really exciting about it. And not gonna lie, I was a little bit disturbed when I woke up with a pig dad, my pig daddy.
But does he actually look like that in real life?
No, basically, man, this was like, it was a bit strange because it was basically a pig with its head cut off, and on its shoulders was the head of my dad. But of course, my dad was looking down into the ground because he couldn't. Pigs, the way human heads and pig heads work are the physiques doesn't match.
Gotcha.
But I always wanted to explore that building, man.
It's crazy because that's what Yume Nikki lets you actually do. A game where you climb into bed, away from the boring world and all of these realities, this reality here, excuse me, and the small apartment, and truly dive into Manatsuki's dreams. Like, you start off in a little Nexus hub world, and you begin your quest to very easily get lost, while also searching for different effects, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And not only are these cool because they alter your character, but it's 100% necessary so that you can beat the game as well.
Yeah, so how do you beat the game, actually? Do you have to... When I say beat the game, how do you get to the ending?
Well, everywhere you go, because the game does tell you to collect effects, but that's it. I love that the game really doesn't use dialogue at all to actually get you to do things. Instead, it tells you things through the world and the strange characters, and while you're getting lost... that's your name.
Yeah, we're gonna have to say that a million times in a million different videos.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go, you'll be encountering all sorts of just memorable, cool, scary entities and events of all shapes and sizes, like this fellow here. I'm gonna post him in the Discord. Do you remember this fine fellow?
Oh, well, yes. Isn't that from... Well, okay. The first thing I thought of was actually Undertale. Because of the way its eyes are placed. But that is Ubu.
It's Uboa, you were close.
Oh, yes. Because this is something that I actually find really fascinating about a lot of games. This guy, you only have a very small chance of meeting him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember something about you have to enter a house, and in the house is a character, and in that house there's also a light switch, and you can turn it on and off, and it doesn't necessarily do anything, but there is a 64th or something like that chance that when you turn off the light, the character transforms and explodes into whatever the hell that creature is.
You're absolutely right. A 1 in 64 chance. Not to mention, going into that random house at the end of a pink sea, by the way, it only works the first time you flip the light switch. And if it doesn't work, you have to leave the house and go back in. So you would never... It would... Imagine being completely caught off guard by this thing, where you turn the light... You'd feel so tricked and trapped.
I mean, seriously, that would scare the hell out of me, because the game is, while it could be creepy in certain areas that I saw, it wasn't necessarily very jump scary, but that thing just popping up would destroy my sanity.
And the moment that you touch it, it kind of furls its face like, ew, a girl, and takes you to a nightmare dimension where you're forced to have him look at you in the background while a giant hand monkey walks on the background, and that's it. You can't escape. Yeah.
So this is where we then actually get into some of the really fascinating stuffs, because as I said earlier, we know that she kills herself in the beginning or at the end of the game. So all of the things that she meets in the dream should have a certain... It has a meaning. We don't know what that is necessarily, but we can speculate.
So many, yes. There's so many lost different theories pointing as to why. And when you encounter creatures like this, or just all sorts of random things, like a cone that just pours the brain fluid out of its head forever. Literally forever.
Okay.
You'll be going on this fantastic quest, and of course some of them are just so hidden that you, like Uboa, you would never find unless you went through multiple playthroughs, and that just gives not only so much playability, but really speaks about Manatsuki herself too, because since you know how the game ends, when you think about it, or at least this is my interpretation, I like to think that Manatsuki going through these colorful, bizarre worlds, and although she always kind of has the same face, I like to think is just way more interesting than her drab apartment, and it's just so indescribably entrancing, almost like a drug.
Ah.
And imagining how Manatsuki would feel waking up over and over to remember that all of that isn't real, that all the problems that she could be having are still there, having to face that same reality over and over, that'd have to wear on you, dude. There's no real way to describe that kind of disappointment.
So she would prefer the loving embrace of eternal sleep, also known as death.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, that's why. But who's to say? Because some even speculate that her death wasn't a dream too. Because the blood splatter at the end, these two little dream figures that you can actually see in the game that they appear randomly in a couple places, they come out and they ding their little weird flower bell heads. So,
okay.
Truthfully, it's all up to interpretation. Did she really die? I don't know. Who's to say?
So there might be a chance that she isn't actually suffering from super terrible depression.
Yes, and I would like to think that, but at the same time, with all the signs and signals, it's do you shy away from the truth, or do you accept it, you know? Do you go to sleep, or do you wake up?
I mean, I as a well-adjusted man, I have never had any issues with that, but God, if I had the ability to enter my dreams and the dream world was so absolutely hypnotic and the world outside kept pressing on me, it's I could see it how that would be a tough choice to make.